What's up? What's up?
Hey, that's
What's
an
up,
awesome
everybody?
video, man.
I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
It gets me going every time I watch it. So,
me too. Yeah, that's great.
well, once again, everybody, we're every Thursday we interview an agent that's killing it in their industry to provide tremendous value to the real estate agents, really around the country and the globe in of itself. And I'm here today with my good friend Pierre Nadeau. He runs a mega team out of Canada, and we're going to just talk about the whole market in and of itself and how things are shifting, not only just in the states but also in Canada, and some of the things he's doing to combat all that. But before we kind of get into all of that, Pierre, for those that don't know you and what you've been able to accomplish, and what your team size and stuff like that, can you give us a kind of little a backstory about you and then yourself in real estate?
Yeah, how far back do you want me to go? Right from the beginning? I'll make it. I'll make it quick. Yeah. So I've been in the business 20 years now. I started my career as a part-time agent. I figured if I could make an extra $25,000 to $30,000 a year, I'd be set for life. That would be amazing. And my first year part time, I made twice as much part time as I did full time. So I said, you know what, I think we should give this thing a shot. So then I worked for a big company, box company in Rural LePage here in Canada. I did that for the first 7 or 8 years, and then realized I was, paying them a ton of money to be there, and was not getting value. Right? Like I always say, I don't mind paying as long as I'm getting, some value out of that. And so, anyways, I decided to do a crazy thing. I opened my own brokerage. I opened an independent brokerage, and uh, huge risk, but the reward was amazing. And we did that for 9.5 years. And then my good buddy Andre LaFontaine called me up and said, "Have you ever heard of EXP Realty?" And I said, "Yeah, heard of it. Don't know anything about it." And he said, "I need you to do me a favor." He goes, "Check it out, take a look at it. I'm looking really hard at this. And I want to get your opinion on it." I'm like, "Yeah, I'll give you my opinion. No problem. Right. I'll poke some holes in it." And I remember sitting back in my chair going, "Oh my God, this is actually really good." Right? So I call Andre and I said, "Is this in Canada? Is this available in Canada? Can we do this here?" And he goes, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm pretty sure." so, so we looked into it, did a lot of due diligence, and that was 3 years ago, and that's how we met. And here I am today. Yeah.
Man. So like people always talk about like the time frame in which that decision of seeing the model from the beginning, and like we'll get into the market shift and stuff there as well, but like just kind of seeing the model from the beginning and then
Yeah.
actually making a decision that this is what I want to do. Was this one of the things where, like when you saw it the first time, you knew this was the thing to do, or was it something you had to kind of like warm up to?
I had to warm up to it a little bit. I mean, when I saw it, I was like, this is good. Like, this is really good. And you know what? I thought I had a good thing going. I really did. I mean, it's all I knew, right? I mean, I didn't have anything to compare it to. So then when I saw this, I thought, well, this solves a lot of my problems as an owner. It'll help me be more profitable. I'll have less headache. I won't have to do all the coaching and training that I used to do, and so it actually solved a lot of problems, and it made me realize that I did have some problems. I did have issues, right, that I needed to resolve in order to be profitable and also to have an exit strategy, right? Because when I saw it, I was 49, and I just didn't have an exit strategy. I mean, I stopped selling houses, and I'm done. I couldn't sell my business because I was doing about 45% of the volume. So what's that worth, right? When you're out, there's no profit. And
Yeah.
I had to sell, because if I didn't sell, there was just no profit. So what our agents were bringing in from our team was just enough to cover the expenses. There was not really a lot of profit there, and that's why we build a team, right? We build a team because we want to leverage ourselves. Well, it just basically covers expenses. It doesn't leverage anything, right? So, and I did try to step out a few times, and it just didn't work, right? So yeah, seeing the model, it kind of woke me up. But then I really had to do some due diligence. I really had to do some research, because like my wife said, why the hell would we close our brokerage when it's already doing okay? We were the number one team in the area. We were doing great volume. Why close that? And I said, well, because this is better. Not
Yeah.
only better for us, it's not only better for us, it's better for our agents, right? Because now they get all this coaching instead of just listening to me every week, right? So, and it was a gut feeling. And again, I'm not afraid to take risks. Now, mind you, taking risk at when you're almost 50 is a little scarier than if I would have been 30, right? So because we had built such a good business, right? And but this, we were right. I mean, the gut went with my gut, and it was a good gut feeling for sure.
So, like, as far as like your teams, just kind of give everybody an idea of what you look like before. Like, how many people did you have on your team and your brokers before, and
Yeah,
like, what that look like? Now after the transition.
yeah. So we had 15 agents when we came over. Two of them decided not to join us. Okay, they were my two lowest producing agents, so it wasn't a big lot. I mean, I hate losing people, but at the time, it wasn't like I was losing anything financially. So we had 13. Started with 13. Right now, we're at 32 agents on our team. We just hired another one yesterday, so that's 33 agents, and and then I've got about 470 in my total organization now. As far as EXP, which goes across Canada, we're into the US. I think we're in 3 or 4 states in the US, and then we have some agents in India and Mexico. So, yeah, it's grown a little bit.
Yeah, pretty cool, man. So
Yeah,
you can say, like, I mean, you had a brokerage before that was 15 agents, and now since you switched over, you're right around about a little bit over 400 in multiple states and also different countries as well.
yeah, and I think within the next 30 days we'll be over 500 for sure. And yeah, I mean, it was when you talk about growth, right, and the amount of money that you make per agent on the residual income is amazing, right? Because after 3 years, I mean, I did it for 17 years the other way, and I'll back up a little bit. When I was the most amount of agents I ever had at my brokerage was 22, and it was my least profitable year I'd ever had.
Wow.
I remember at the end of the year talking to my bookkeeper and accountant and saying, like, why am I doing this? Like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, I've got all these headaches. I've got all these people and personalities to manage, all the drama that would go on. And I'm better off just going back to selling homes myself by myself, right? Because I was making more money just doing that. So we had to, we really had to change what we were doing. And I think that that's what happens with the traditional the traditional model, right? The brokerage model, it is broken. Like it's very hard. And now what's happening is you're getting a lot of these companies that are coming out with these, cheap fees, right? Well, you've got to be doing thousands and thousands of transactions just to even make a living. So, why bother? Why bother with all that headache? So now when I looked at EXP as a model that could solve a lot of those issues. And now I could, use their training, use their technology, I couldn't compete. Like there was just no way I could compete. So as an owner, I was actually kind of scared. I was a little worried because I'm like, if my agents see this, they're gonna leave. Right? So anyway, so 3 years of hustling and working hard, and I mean it's a game changer for sure. I mean I've got a life again, right? I'm not working 80, 90 hours a week. I'm not stressed. I get to go to the gym every day. I get to golf 3 or 4 times a week, and that's the balance that I was always working for, but I could just never get there using the systems I was using before.
Man, it's funny because I'm just thinking about, like, your journey in of itself. I mean, um, everybody, they want to, when they start adding leverage to their business, the first thing they say, well, I'm gonna go start a team, and then
Yeah.
they start a team. Then it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna add more leverage. I'm gonna get my own brokerage. Then you go get your own brokerage, and then you look at it and it's like, man, I'm where I want to be. I got a certain amount of volume that I'm doing, but I'm still not at the destination that I thought I was. I'm here, but it ain't what I thought it would be when I got there, right?
Yeah, and I mean that's true in a way, but it's also like when I was alone, I had issues, right? Like there was a lot of pain points because of all the work and all the stress and everything else. Then you have a team, now you have different issues. And then when you open a brokerage, then you have different issues again. But I will say, having a team was better than being alone,
Yeah.
right? owning my own brokerage was better than paying my old brokerage $100,000 a year.
There you go.
Right? And then not only that, I had something that I owned, right? I bought the building. I owned the building. Actually, our first building, we bought it and fixed it all up. And then we sold it and doubled our money on that. So I would have not been able to do that being on my own. Okay. So, and now having, my own, at least I have an investment in a building. I have, you know what I mean? So, so it's better. And now with EXP, it's even better again. Right. So less headaches.
Less headaches. Love
Yep.
it.
Yep.
So, all right. So just kind of getting into like, all right. So, things are moving along. You're growing your rev share group. Your team is building and growing. We've just come off of some of the best real estate, in the last couple of years, after COVID, a lot of us thought it was like we didn't know what was going on. We thought the world was falling in, but
Yeah.
but then all of a sudden everybody wanted to buy houses. So, but now like some things happened, like the market shifted in so many different areas.
Yeah.
Homes that was flying off the shelves before and now sitting longer.
Yeah.
Those multiple offers and 50, 100,000, 200,000 over ask price is not the same where the way it was before. So
Yeah.
what are some of the things that y'all are experiencing there, that you're having to deal with this shifting market?
Yeah. I mean, this is funny. We talked about this before we got on, and I still laugh about it. I mean, I've got agents that started right at the beginning of COVID, right? And I remember about a month ago, one of my agents called me and crying, like, market's falling. The house has been on the market for 3 weeks. My client's upset. We have to do a price reduction. Didn't even know how to do a price reduction, and crying. I laughed, man. I laughed, and she's like, "Why are you laughing at me?" And I said, "Because this is funny." I said, "You've had it so good.
Yeah.
You're actually going to have to work now. You're going to learn what real work is all about now because you guys have had it so easy, right?" But listen, when COVID hit, it was scary because it was something that we weren't used to seeing. It wasn't a market crash. It wasn't I remember the first 3 or 4 months of COVID. Wow. I mean, I was like, oh, this isn't good. Right. And then boom, all of a sudden, sales start going through the roof and things are selling fast and everything was great. So we actually did less volume, but we did more production, right? Like, so we did less transactions, but we had a higher volume. So we made more money by doing less, which was fantastic. Now we got to go back to doing what we were doing before, spending money to advertise, spending money to, to grow your business and to go. But Canada's feeling it as well, right? I mean, the prices have gone down about 10 to 15% in Ontario right now. But the rates have gone up, right? So at the end of the day, the things are going to balance out. And once people realize that, I think, it's going to start to go back up again. August was a really, really slow month for most people. For us, August was fantastic, right? We brought on a bunch of new agents, so we made up for the volume. And plus, the rev share is still there no matter what. So that was good. But now I think people are going to start seeing, like, in the fall, they're going to realize if I can't buy a $700,000 house, so now I got to buy a $650,000 house. Yeah. That's it. Right. They're going to still need homes. There's still a shortage of homes. So I'm actually very positive about what's going to happen here. So, but there are a lot of agents that are going to go into panic mode. They're going to hide. They're not going to do what they're supposed to do. And they're going to fail. Right. Unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of, realtors out there that are going to fail because they're not willing to put in the work now. Right. And they've been spoiled. They've been really spoiled.
Yeah, I mean this market has been. I mean, it's one of those things like you throw a house on the market and right away you're getting like 15 offers in a day, stuff going on the contract, closings within like 2 weeks. Now like you might have to go back to a 30-day close. Like who would have thought a 30 to 45-day close would be something that would be happening again, and in this particular market, and a seller having to pay some closing costs.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, now we're back to having conditions in our offers, right? Like conditional on financing and inspection, all this. Like it's just not, So, and I think that's healthy, right? I honestly didn't think that. I mean, obviously it was good for the real estate industry. I mean, I know where I am in Kingston, Ontario, that the prices were low to start off with. So the increase really brought us back up to where we should have been. And I think that's why a lot of people were buying here, was because we had the people from the major centers like Toronto coming here, 2.5 hours away. They could sell a house in Toronto for $1 million and buy 3 or 4 times the house here for, 500,000 or 600,000. So that's what drove the prices up. Right.
Yeah.
No, I think we're going to be okay. I'm not too worried, as long as people are using the tools they have to grow their business, and they're doing the work. Because right now, I mean, we're doubling down. We're doubling down on everything we're doing, right? Especially going into the winter, because if you don't, you're just going to be, come January, you're going to be looking for a job.
Yeah.
Yep.
So who do you think needs the biggest awakening when you're dealing with the seller or you're dealing with the buyers right now?
Well, right now it's been the sellers, like informing them that the market is not what it was 6 months ago, right? Like when I appraised your house, like I even had, some clients recently where we did an appraisal for them 3 months ago. And I'm like, that's not the same appraisal, right? It's 10 to 15% lower now. And they don't believe that. But I think what's happening is more and more they're seeing on the news, they're seeing it everywhere. I mean, the government did this for a reason, right? They created this panic in everybody. And they're creating the panic with real estate agents. But as the real estate agents, it's our profession to inform people through videos like this, through different podcasts that we're going to do and different things, to let people know that, this was created on purpose. But when the prices go down and the rates go up, I mean, at the end of the day, you're paying about the same anyways, right? I heard a great thing in Dallas. I think it was Tony Robbins that actually said it, right? What he said: date the rate, marry the house, right?
Yep, that's what he said.
Yeah. So, you're buying the house. So if we say that to our clients, listen, you're going to marry the house as your forever home, but, just get a variable rate for the next couple of years. And, if you look at trends, everything goes up and down. So just, just lock in at a lower, variable rate right now. And then, in 2 or 3 years, refinance, right? That's it. Build equity.
So I was talking to a few agents, and we was kind of discussing the market and the shift, and they were kind of nervous. You know how it is, like they're not used to this whole market shift thing, and
Yeah.
so some of the problems that they were having was how to communicate with their client. It really wasn't. I mean, the market was one thing, but just like you said, talking to a client about where to price the home, and then also dealing with their buyers in of itself of now, like you said, instead of just 700,000, now you're looking at a $600,000 home, and the 600,000 homes don't look like the $700,000 home. What are
Right.
some of the things that you're coaching your team with in order to overcome some of those objections?
Well, I mean, it's data. You got to provide everybody with data. I've always done that, right? I mean, everything is like, the data doesn't lie. So if you walk into a meeting and you're not prepared and you don't have information and you don't have the knowledge of what's going on, they could say, I had someone the other day that said, oh, that house across the street sold for 720,000 6 months ago. Why is mine only worth, 6? I'm like, okay, well, the data over the last 30 to 60 days shows me that all the homes in your area are priced, right around here. And we sold, and anyway, she listened to me, and we sold the house within $5,000 of asking. Okay. But we had 24 showings before that house even got an offer. Okay. So if you have the data, you're protecting yourself down the road, right? I just had another guy call me to list some lots for him. And they were listed with someone else for 6 months at a crazy price. And I said, I love your business, but when I do the research on your properties, it shows me that you're 100,000 over ask, like what you should be. So they're probably not going to sell, no matter what I do for my marketing, no matter what I do, how good we are. People aren't stupid. Just because they have money doesn't mean they're stupid with it, right? Everybody says to us in our town, oh, just, we'll get a Toronto buyer. Somebody will come in from Toronto and buy it because they got all kinds of money. Yeah, well, that doesn't mean they're stupid with it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes they don't mind, paying premiums, but they're not going to overpay and because that's a huge investment, right? So I think that when you're doing your CMAs and you're doing your evaluations, the more data that you have to show current data, right? You got to make sure it's current, because if you're looking at 6 months ago, it's totally different. Yeah. It's totally different. So, and if you don't have a lot of data, then you've got to kind of start searching and finding stuff, and you got to know what you're doing when you're comparing. You want to make sure you're comparing apples with apples. So again, it comes down to doing more work. Before, we could just put a price on the house and it would sell.
Yep.
Didn't matter. You didn't have to do any work, right? It's ridiculous. It was robbery, really. But now you have to make sure that you're okay. And the other reason you have to make sure you're okay is not just for your client, but for you, because you really want to take a listing that's $100,000 overpriced, have to market it, have to spend all your money, all your time, do all these showings, waste a ton of time on it, and then not even get a commission out of it. You're working for nothing.
Yep.
Right. And you're not doing yourself any favors by just trying to get a listing and telling somebody what they want to hear. And you know what? I find, like, I just got some listings last week, and they interviewed 3 agents. I was the lowest priced agent. Okay. Out of all of them, I charged the most commission, and I was the lowest price on the evaluations. Right. But you know what they told me afterwards? Those guys that they'd interviewed were just trying to tell them what they wanted to hear. They didn't have any data. They didn't have any evaluations. They didn't show them true comparables, right? And they didn't get it because they weren't educating the seller on what they needed to know. And there was 5 sellers involved. It's a family trust thing, and there was 5 sellers. So I had to interview with 5 people, right? Wow. And we got it because we were just honest with them. I just told them, I said, I can tell you what you want to hear, but that's not going to sell your property, and you're hiring me to sell your property. So if you want to sell your property, here's the data.
Man, I'm glad you went into that, because that's actually what's going to be the next question I was going to ask. Is like, because we all know it's going to be some agents that's going in and they're going to pull that 6-month data, and they're going to say, well, all right, I believe your house is worth that. Let's go ahead and put it on the market, see what happens. And then when somebody that comes in that does know the market and does know the trends and where things are going, and they give them the real number, then sellers sometimes like, all right, well, I'm just going to go with the higher number. But I think you said it itself is that data. And that's showing them that's a big separator in and of itself between you and the other person. And so they might choose that other person. That might happen, but just keep looking at that listing as it sits.
Yeah. Two things you got to do when you're going into a listing, right? You got to sell yourself. Okay, so you have to be pretty confident in what you're doing, and then you have to sell your data. Okay, so the data that you provide them shows that you're experienced, shows that you know what you're doing, shows that and if you've got a detailed person, you better have graphs, you better have, you better have a lot of data. I'm not a detailed person. So if somebody comes into me and starts showing me graphs and charts and everything else, they're gone. They're lost, right? So know the personality of the person that you're presenting. I always tell my agents that when you're walking through a house, when I first get into a home and I say, hey, show me your home, sell me your home. I want you to sell me the home as if I'm a buyer. Why should I buy this house, right? And I have them take me around. But the whole purpose of that is, do I need to see the house? Yes. But the whole purpose of that conversation for the next 10 minutes is for me to analyze what kind of personality they have, right? Are they a high D where it's like, here, go look at the house, I'll meet you in the kitchen, right? You just go look at whatever you want to look at, right? So I know that guy isn't wanting me to take an hour to present to him what we're going to do, right? That's going to be a 5-10 minute conversation, in, out, boom. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. All right, let's go. Right. That's what that person. But then if I got a guy that's showing me every little nick and cranny and showing me the organizers in the closets and showing me their medicine cabinet and showing, how everything's neat and tidy and organized, well, then that person's going to want graphs and charts. Right. And then if I've got the person that comes in and they're like, hey, how's it going? And they're having fun. And do you want a drink? Do you want a glass of wine? What do you like that personality? They just want a friend. Right. Yeah. So you know what? We're not even going to talk. We're not even going to talk numbers. I'm just going to make a friend. We're going to have a drink together and we're going to have fun. Right. And if I can have fun with that person, then guess what? I'm getting the listing. So it's all about connecting with the right personalities, and you've got to know who you're dealing with. And then you've got to be able to sell yourself. You got to be able to talk about, why they should use you. And then You got to, prove why the numbers that you're telling them on the house are accurate, right? Data doesn't lie. So if you got the right data, it's so easy.
Love it, man. Love it. So, another thing I was just kind of noticing and talking to folks about as well is like in any market, homes are gonna sell. It doesn't matter if it's a good market or a bad market. And it's my personal belief that in a bad market, you have the ability to take more market share. Is that something that do you have that same thought process? And is that something like you said? Well, I'm sure you do. You said you're doubling down, right? You're doubling down for a reason, right?
Yeah, yeah. I My first year in the business, I actually joined a small team, and one of the guys, one of the team leads, he said to me, he says, in a good market, a good real estate agent will make a lot of money. In a bad market, a good real estate agent will make a ton of money, right? And it's because you have the tools and you have the knowledge of what it takes to get it done, right? So when everybody else is cutting back, that's why we want to, double down and do more, right? More phone calls, more appointments, more advertising, more leads and things like that, right? Like we just had a conversation this morning about leads. How do we get more leads in our agent's hand at this time? Because they're going to have to make more calls and they're going to have to get in front of more people, right? And the more you do, the better your chances, the better your odds are, right?
Yep. Yep.
You got to fail a lot to succeed.
You gotta feel a lot to succeed, kiss a lot of ugly frogs to get to the prince. So you gotta make sure you're doing that. Um,
Absolutely.
so all right, so man, so what? I mean, I know we've been talking here, and we're about to finish up in a minute. And I mean, I know a lot of people are taking a lot of great nuggets, and from what we're talking about. What are some of the things that I mean, because I know you run a mega team, and I know there's people out there that they don't have a mega team or whatever. But for individual agent, that's a a successful agent, but they're not hitting the success that they really want, and this market is shifting for that person. What advice would you have for that particular agent?
Well, from all the coaching that I've gotten over the years, I mean, that question comes up all the time, right? And I think the answer is you have to have, 6 or 7 different pillars at any given time. Okay. So you got to figure out what are your pillars that you're good at. All right. So you got lead gen. There's a pillar. You got open houses. There's another pillar. You've got your circle of influence, right? Are you calling all the people in your database right now? Like, so one of my youngest son, Brandon, just got his real estate license. So of course he's asking me, what do I do? What's the first thing that I do? Right. Well, you're going to go on Facebook. You're going to look at all these people that and that are your, friends. Okay. And you're going to contact them. You're going to pick up the phone and you're going to call them. You're not going to text them. You're going to call them. Okay. You're going to do something different than everyone else because it's easy to send out a mass text or a mass email. No. But who's the person that's going to pick up the phone and actually have a conversation with them? Ask those people for referrals. Okay. Yeah. If they're not looking to sell, then you know what? Who do you know, or you might know that's thinking about selling in the next 3 to 6 months that I could, maybe have a conversation with. Ask for referrals. If you don't ask, you won't get. I mean, that's such an easy way to get business, right? Especially if you've already done business with these people. You need to stay in touch with them and you need to have, some kind of contact with them on a regular basis. If you're not calling your database 2 or 3 or 4 times a year and then plus sending them videos of, like even just a video on a market, watch what's going on. This is what's going on with the market, because you want them to think about you when somebody at a party is having a conversation about real estate, thinking about selling their home. Hey, you should call James. You know what? James is awesome. Because they're thinking of you because they hear from you, right? So you have to figure out what are your 7 pillars. What are the pillars that you're going to use? Because they always said 7. You need at least 7 different pillars to make a 6-figure income in real estate, right? So figure out what you're good at and do it. If it's going out to social events and meeting people and networking, right, or being part of some committee in your city that is part of a networking group or whatever, do those things as well, right? So there's all kinds of stuff you can do.
Love it, man.
Yep.
Pierre, man, I appreciate you jumping on. I appreciate being partnered with you, man. And I mean, I've been watching you, from the beginning, and you've been growing and building and playing more golf. So,
You could be getting better by now, though. I haven't gotten any better, which is really frustrating, but I'm a little too competitive. But listen, I appreciate you having me, and I appreciate everything that you do for us. And I mean, you've built such a huge organization, and you're doing so well. And congratulations to you, and thanks for everything you do for us.
I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Once again, like I said, I mean, we do these every Thursday where we're interviewing an agent that's, killing in the industry, providing tremendous value for the real estate agent. And if you want to know more about how you can actually partner with us, or if you want to, get information about what we do, or just information in of itself about, your real estate business, and, how we can make it better. You can contact me at jameshmassey.com. You can contact Pierre. His phone number is right there. At the end of the day, we're here to help, regardless where you are. We just want to provide some level of stability, and help you to grow your business the same way we've been able to grow ours. So
Absolutely.
appreciate you again, buddy. And until the next time, are you going to Vegas?
Oh, you know what? I like to go to all of them. I love all the events, so for sure.
All right, man. Well, I'll see you in Vegas, man.
All right, brother.
All
Thanks.
right.